Woo! Here it is, guys. The spoiler-filled review of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. We're gonna get right into this bad boy. So you haven't seen the film, check out my non-spoiler review, and then check out this review. Because trust me, you don't want this movie to be spoiled. There's plenty of twists, storytelling choices that will surprise you, and I recommend going in vague as possible, not knowing anything, knowing very little. I mean, the movie going experience is very rewarding. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, spoilers galore from here on out. Let's dive right into it. I'm gonna try to remain, linear as possible throughout the story, how it unfolded. Let's start in the beginning. We get a great action sequence, but before that, we get Poe Dameron showing a comedic side, and that's another thing. The comedy here was heavily criticized, and I think it worked well. I think it meshed well, in my opinion. But yeah, you have him taunting Hux. That was just a great scene where General Hux is like, "You will die, rebel scum. We will wipe you from the face of this earth." He's like, "Hello? Is General Hux there? I have a message for his mother. Patch him through. Can he hear me?" Like, I love that scene. It was hilarious. I mean, the audience I was watching with really appreciated it. We were cracking up. For the most part, the comedy did work. There were just some random inserts of comedy that I felt it felt flat. Like, for example, Luke Skywalker like draining the tit out of this creature to get some breast milk, and he's just like it had a little, yeah, a little Clockwork Orange moment where he's just like, he's drinking the milk and looking at Ray. What the fuck was that all about? But I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, it didn't detract from the film. I thought it was randomly hilarious. I have a distinct sense of humor, so I just went with the humor and it worked. Mainly with the porgs, they worked as well. But yeah, let's stick with the beginning. We get that funny bit with Poe and Hux, and then we get into this amazing like aerial battle sequence, dogfight in space. It just and we're just trying to drop all those bombs, and then we see Rose's mother make that amazing sacrifice. It was pretty badass. I really enjoyed that sequence. It's pretty crazy, and just Poe is just like, man, he is the rebel without a cause, being a rebel leader, just taking out the cannons. That's just a great sequence. Like I said, I really enjoyed that beginning sequence. So we get that, and we get the rebels escaping, and then you know, I thought it was fascinating. The First Order tracking them through light speed. What? And I like that scene where Snoke just force slammed Hux's face on the ground, like eat metal, like like you don't want to hear that shit. Very Vaderish, how Vader used to do that to his co-workers. Where he used to just force choke slam him to the ground and stuff. It was funny. But yeah, then we get Rey going going to that island where Luke stays at. I forgot the name of the island, but it was funny. So she comes with the lightsaber. Doesn't say this lightsaber. She's like, right where we left off, which is great. And then we get a moment where he's looking at the lightsaber, and this caught me off guard. There are a lot of key moments that happen here. It's just so memorable. That's what I really appreciate about this movie. It distinguishes itself from the rest of the Star Wars movies. Even little moments like this, you thought it would go a certain way, and it doesn't. And you're just like, what? It just keeps you on your toes, and I appreciate a movie that does that. Anyway, yeah. So what I was expecting was Luke just looking at the lightsaber, and he'd be like, "Where did you get this?" or "How did you acquire this?" or "Who are you?" All this stuff. He just looks at this damn thing. He's just like, he just like hucks it over his shoulder. I ain't gonna throw this because I don't want to break it. But yeah, he just hucks it over his shoulder, tosses it, and I bust out laughing because I was not expecting that. Like, I don't want this. Like, why bring me this? Don't bring me into it. It was like a very Godfather 3 moment where he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where he's like, oh, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. So I really appreciated that. Yeah, the story with Luke and Ray on that island was one of my favorite parts of this entire film. I mean, the acting by Mark Hamill, my God, it was just so great. I feel like they did his character justice. There were so many surprises with his character choice, bold decisions, and just added so many layers to him. He was just like this broken down Jedi. He doesn't like a Jedi legend. It's funny how they play with your expectations, like with Snoke, with Luke, like, and they take it in a completely different direction. That's what I really loved about this film. Like with Luke, we idolize him, just Luke Skywalker from the original trilogy, taking on Vader and all this stuff. And you see this old, brittle, broken down man. He just had enough, and feels morally responsible for creating Kylo. And we see that, and I loved those flashback sequences. They were so effective when we got to see different points of views of what transpired with the Jedi Temple burning down, with Kylo eventually turning over to the dark side and just murdering Luke's students. We found out that it wasn't one-sided. There's different perspectives, like in the spectrum, like, and we saw Kylo's point of view where he saw his master about to just strike him down. And maybe it was true what he said. He was in fear. It looked like he was in genuine like surprise and fear, like holy shit, my own master's gonna strike me down. I didn't think you'd go down this route. And I had that same genuine reaction, like what, Luke, really? And I love when Rey confronted Luke about it, and he admitted it was true. He just took the lightsaber, like, oh, the green lightsaber, by the way, which is one of my favorite lightsaber colors, is the green one. Fucking love that they they brought that back in. So that was a pleasing moment for me because I love when he used it in Return of the Jedi. So yeah, he activates his green lightsaber, and he just has a moment of contemplation whether or not to do it. And in that moment, he's just like, no. He comes to his senses. No matter how dark he has sensed, where Kylo was headed, he's already corrupted by Snoke at that point. He hesitated, in that hesitation, it was a big misunderstanding. and Kylo just bringing down that hut they were in, and just, oh man, I love those sequences. I love where they took Luke's character in places you weren't expecting. It just made the story so refreshing, so interesting. And like I said, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker was the best part of this movie. The highlight of this film was Luke Skywalker's story arc. And a lot of people were complaining the way he died. Oh, he just went out without a whimper, just woo, I just vanished. Then now people realize that he went out just like Obi-Wan Kenobi did in A New Hope, and I really appreciated that. First, I was taken back. Don't get me wrong; it was a little jarring, but I just loved how, you know it would have been awesome if he had really been there fighting Kylo Ren. I mean, that's what I like about the movie. They could have gave us like fan service like that easily, easily. Like, oh yeah, you guys want to see Luke versus Kylo? No problem. Give him the green lightsaber, let him go at it, and really use his force and just like take on the entire First Order. Like, that could have happened, and I'm glad they didn't go that direction. They just went in so many different directions, and it wasn't like it didn't rob me of my experience or my expectations. It just exceeded it really, and I love that they played with the Force too. That's another thing because I was always curious about and fascinated how the Force actually works, and they delved into that, like showing different ways it can work, like especially when that scene where Rey's meditating, and then he's like, okay, what do you feel? What do you see? You feel the earth, you feel this, you feel light, you feel darkness, and the nice editing cuts of all these vast shots of the island, and it was great. I love that, and I loved how Rey and Kylo had their like forced communications. It was like a texting method. Their means of communicating. I love that. Just so many ways they depicted the Force, how it was utilized here, just blew me away. It's mind blowing. I really loved it. It was so refreshing to watch, like I said. And then Luke duping Kylo, getting the best of him, like a true Jedi Master. So wise, just taking what he had learned from Yoda and Obi-Wan and just applying it here, and it was great. So don't get me wrong, that would have been epic, just seeing Luke versus his former student Kylo right there would have been so epic. But what we got, I feel like, was even better and did justice to Luke's character. It wasn't a cop out. A lot of people were like, oh, he went out like a chump. They robbed us. Like, nah, man. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. It's just like, don't put too much expectations in something. I mean, I know it's Star Wars. I know it's like almost impossible. But it's funny because it's like I feel like there's no pleasing the Star Wars fans no matter what you give them. I mean, they were bitching about, like I said, the Force Awakens. It's a rehash from New Hope. It borrows heavily from New Hope. They're not different. They're not unique. They're not doing anything different. I don't like this. Blah 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 blah. And yet they do it here. I mean, they borrow certain story elements from, yes, Empire Strikes Back, maybe a little bit from Return of the Jedi, but not full on blown rehash territory. Like they claim in The Force Awakens, which it is, but I felt like it was necessary in The Force Awakens to reboot the franchise, playing it safe rather than doing all these risk taking like The Last Jedi did. And look, people are still complaining like, oh, it took too many risks. Oh, I don't like what the like. Really, and I loved it. I loved that they did that. There's just certain things that I was just like, okay, I was a little taken back by, but I thought about it and it was like, it's fine. Didn't detract from my experience, and I only needed to see it once to make up my mind. I know a lot of critics are like, I gotta see it 2 times, I gotta see it 3 times. And for me, no. Just the one time, and I made up my mind. It's a 10 out of 10. If I had to detract the score, it wouldn't even be that big of a difference. With all the nitpicking and a few issues I had with the storytelling in the middle, mainly with Finn and Rose's storyline, which I felt like they could have done without, I would bring that to a 9.5. Really, I can't even bring it down to a 9. No. This movie is a 9.5 and higher. And you know what? I thought about it, and Empire Strikes Back is still my number 1, but this is number 2. The Last Jedi is number 2. Some people say is their number 1, and I don't blame them because it's like I said, it brought something so new to the table. But yeah, Luke's story arc was great from start to end. It was sad to see him go, but I like how he went out. He just dissipated like Obi-Wan did, like in New Hope. It's very fitting end to his character. He was at peace. And I love that. I love that. They just gave him a proper send off. He was at peace with the Force. So, anyway, let's talk about Rey and Kylo. Oh my God. Their kinetic energy is ridiculous. It's off the charts. They're like, I feel like a little sexual tension going on between them at certain parts. Like, what? Are they really gonna hook up? They've been hyping up this Reylo relationship happening, and I just love their chemistry. And there was a funny moment where Rey, she force communicates with Kylo and catches him with his shirt off, with his chest out, like. Oh man, that was hilarious. And she's like, you mind putting on the shirt? He's like, oh, you like this, huh? If you join the dark side, you get all of this, all of this, Rey. Oh man, that Sith game strong with Kylo. That's right, get it, boy. Anyway, I just found that hilarious. There were some funny parts like that, and then when Luke caught them, like because that was very interesting. How if you're in tact with the Force and you're doing that Force communication with somebody, then you can pick up elements of like air, water. Like you can even show up at points, which is crazy. It's kind of like a teleportation gimmick in a way, and it just worked. It just made me more fascinated with learning about the Force. I felt like I was like Rey, like a student, like just learning about all this shit. So that was interesting. And Luke catching them in the hut. It was like if your dad, like a dad catching his daughter with that like college student that you don't want to catch. Like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Who the fuck are you? So I love that. He just straight up, you know, just ripped a hole into the hut she was staying in. It was so funny. He's like, "Aha, Ray, this is what you've been up to. You've been deceiving me, young lady. You're grounded." So I really enjoyed that. Chewie, let's talk about Chewie real quick in the port. Oh, one of my favorite highlights of this movie. It just worked. The porgs and Chewie, and they weren't overused like they were overused like the Ewoks. They didn't get annoying like Jar Jar at all. They were just used enough that it worked, and I really enjoy them. Kind of want to see them come back because there were so many funny moments like Chewie eating. Well, he was about to indulge in some yummy, mighty yummy, crispy pork, which I was cracking the hell up when he was like he had a little rotisserie there, just going around, and the porks are just looking up at him like, oh my god, I died of laughter. The audience was cracking up, you know. And Chewie was like, Chewie hungry, Chewie gotta eat, you know. So, and I love how he felt so bad. He basically he created like a pork paradise inside the Millennium Falcon. Oh my God, Chewie, you never cease to amuse me. I loved it, and you see like the porgs mating, like they're making these nests, so they were everywhere. I loved it. It was great. It was such a joy to watch. It brought a big smile to my face. Even think about it. I gotta get some porgs up in here. Maybe get some what's it called? The pork Funko Pop or something. That'd be cool. Yeah. So they worked. And let's talk about the most epic, mind blowing lightsaber action sequence I've ever seen in Star Wars. When it happened, I was just, oh my god, I was fanboying out like crazy. The entire audience lost their freaking minds, just, like mind orgasmic popping to another level when we get that sequence, Rey being brought to Snoke by Kylo. She feels like she can turn him over to the light, and Luke feels like there's no hope for Kylo, which he was right. And we get that amazing sequence. First, we get Kylo, which just shocked the hell out of everybody. And this is the one everybody's gonna be talking about. The decision they made, the bold choice of killing off Snoke, and I loved it though, because Snoke was it's just means to an end. You know what I mean? Just like I don't know why people are bitching like we didn't know nothing about Snoke. We didn't even get to know him or get at least a last minute documentary on Snoke. Who gives a fuck? Like, did you get that with the Emperor when you first watched the Star Wars trilogy? No, it was shrouded in mystery, and that's what kept it so engaging and appealing. Same with Snoke. He was just this gold robe wearing Sith Lord. That's all you gotta know. I love gold. Yeah, so that was Snoke in a nutshell. I didn't need to know anything else. I didn't care about his backstory. Whatever. He's just, like I said, he's just like a plot device to enhance Kylo Ren's turn into evil even more, turn to the dark side even more. And I like that he's a new supreme leader now, so we'll see how that goes. Uh, I'm interested to see where that goes. I liked it. It worked for me. When he turned on the lightsaber, and it split him in half, and he brought it to Rey, and then they engaged with those red like guards. I don't know the name of the guards specifically, but holy shit, that entire sequence. Like I was in a state of shock. Like I was, oh my god, it was glorious. It was glorious. One of the best lightsaber battles I've ever seen. Just a tag team duo of Rey and Kylo. And there's this epic moment where she uses the Force to throw their lightsaber to Kylo. He catches it and he just turns it on that mofo right there, right in his dome. Just, like what? Loved it. Oh my god, the fight choreography was insane. I can't praise it enough. Man, it was worth it. It was that alone is worth the price of admission. So that's one of the main things I really loved. And from there on, I love the movie. From that point on, I was like, this movie's a 10. This movie is a damn 10. I freaking loved it. So yeah, and then we get that. I love that Kylo stayed true to his character, not joining the light. Instead, he did that to overthrow Snoke because he was tired of his bullshit, and also because he wanted to be leader and he wanted Rey to join him. And for a second, I thought Rey was going to, which would have been, man, that would have been very interesting. Talk about game changing. People would be talking about that for years to come. Like seriously, if Rey did join him and they becoming the new antagonists, honestly, if that happened, I would have been okay. It would have been a little bit believable because of Rey's lineage. Her parents, from what Kyle says, they're just like these scavengers or whatever. They traded her in for. They sold her for like liquor or something. It's just scum, and she just came out of nothing. And I kind of liked that. It worked. A lot of people were like, "Oh, we didn't get a backstory." Blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of glad we didn't. It's just it's refreshing. A lot of the choices they made were refreshing. You don't need answers to everything. Really don't. I mean, how ridiculous would it have been like, okay, Luke and this and this. It's just like very. That's just very fan fictiony to me. Like just pleasing the fan service, like reading their comments on like Twitter or Reddit, like, oh, so that's what they want, that's what they're voting on, hoping Rey would be the daughter of Luke. Okay, let's make that happen. You know how easy that is? No. I love Rian Johnson's direction here. This director gives no F's. He's like, this is my vision and this is what I'm giving you guys. Like I'm not gonna let what the fans think influence my choices. And you got to respect somebody to do that. For me, it paid off. I really appreciate it, like I said. So what else? Oh, and another thing people were complaining about was Princess Leia moment where she got blown the f up out of out of her ship and she was floating. It was very Guardians of the Galaxy look where she's just floating in space and she's getting all iced up. Then she opens her eyes and then she uses the Force to. I admit, a little for the moment, it was a little eye rolling. I was like, "What, really?" But I'm like, you know what? It was so surprising that it kind of worked. It's sad that Carrie Fisher died, and that would have been a great opportunity to kind of kill her off her character. But I like that they didn't go down that route. They could have easily, in post production, have edited that way. Like, okay, take out the rest of her other scenes, and just make that her death. And I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm still curious to see how they're going to implement Princess Leia in the last Star Wars film now that Carrie Fisher sadly passed away. But yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, that was very Man of Steel-ish where he's just floating in space and then she floats. Oh my god, cringy. Nah, it wasn't that bad, guys. Like, chill the hell out. Chillax. It worked for the most part. It's like, what the fuck? Like I said, like, people had, way, way high expectations. And, I mean, that's expected. Like I said, it's a Star Wars film. But as I mentioned and pointed out, people were bitching a lot that it needed to be different, it needed to be unique, refreshing, it needed to take risks, and I felt like The Last Jedi nailed it, and it worked. The only thing that didn't work, let's touch on this, was the Finn and Rose storyline. They were in that fucking, like I said, Casino Royale planet. It was weird, where they use these chocobo-looking creatures, they have these alien races around the track. Like I could have done without it. That's when the story kind of slowed down for me. They needed to get this guy to one of the First Order ships to disable their locking mechanism. I mean their homing beacon or whatever it was that they used to track them at light speed. And it was Benicio del Toro's character, and just that whole segment could have been cut out entirely, honestly. And another thing that irked me was just the weird chase, the slowest chase sequence with the First Order ships going after the Rebel ship, and it's like they couldn't catch up to them because I guess if they shot into light speed, they were overshooting or something, so they were just slowly coming from behind and just shooting one at a time, like pew pew, like why not unload the fuck on them, like when they were escaping in those escape pods? So I did find that odd. But these are minor gripes. These are just little nitpicks. You know what I mean? It doesn't break the movie for me. It doesn't make or break the movie. It's just little nitpicks. It's easy just to nitpick, and that's it. It's just, yeah, it's ridiculousness. Like I said, I really enjoy this film. I would defend it, just like I did with The Force Awakens. I would defend this movie because I got my money's worth. I got my money's worth. What else? That whole final sequence with was it those walkers, that we seen in Empire Strikes Back, them coming back. That was interesting to see, and them using that cannon to try to blow up that door, and that whole sequence was amazing. I felt like Finn should have died. I felt like it would have been just if he died and sacrificed himself, and would have struck a great emotional chord to everybody, to the characters and the audience, if they made that bold decision to kill him off. Because I feel like he should. I didn't like that Rose came in and like I was just like, really, he kind of fucked up his moment. Like, you know what I mean? You just screwed up the man's heroic moment. I just felt like, really, that. And then Rose kissing him was just like, what? That fucking forced. I don't want to see Rose in a relationship with Finn. I don't want. I do not ship that. I'm sorry. I do like her as a character. She's very interesting, spunky, and cool, but I prefer Ray over her. I like what they already established with Ray and Finn. I like them keeping Ray, Finn, and Kylo like that love triangle going. I like that better, So, and I like that Ray helped him escape. She like lifting the rocks. It was great. Like I said, what else? I'm trying to think what else people were complaining about. Oh goodness gracious! It's like I'm just trying to map out every little nitpicker, but. But that's all I can think of, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, my biggest gripe was the Finn and Rose story. Like, oh yeah, Captain Phasma was underutilized yet again, but fuck it, if that's the way they want to end her character, all right, fine. It's fine. Like I said, it's fine. It's fine. Like just like Snoke, whatever, like I'm more focused on Finn, Rey, Kylo, Luke, and everybody else. I can give two shits about Phasma. She came back for revenge. She did her little dance with Finn. Okay, she lost. Whatever. It was a cool shot though, where her mask was broken. You get to see the actress's eye, which is cool because that's the actress who plays Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones. I like her as an actress. Would have been cool if she just took out the helmet and you got to see her face. That would have been badass, but. Yeah, so that's the thing is people feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities. And yeah, I can see that, but still, like I said, it works for me. Holy crap, 27 minutes in. Oh man, like I said, I really want to rewatch The Last Jedi. I can't wait. The storytelling, the twists and turns were great. It worked, and I couldn't be happier. I'm thoroughly pleased. I loved The Last Jedi, and I can't wait to rewatch this movie. It was just so good. And a theory I have is since the lightsaber broke, the crystal of the lightsaber broke, maybe we'll get Rey in episode 9 wielding the double-bladed lightsaber. How freaking cool would that be? Please make that happen. But anyway, post your comments. Let me know what you thought of The Last Jedi. Give me your rating. What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Do you think this is the best Star Wars? Do you think this is the worst Star Wars? I don't think it's the worst Star Wars. Nothing can be worse than the fucking prequels. But let me know. I am curious to know your opinion. Give this video a like if you enjoyed this spoiler review, and subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I'll catch you next time.